The first thing people noticed about Pine Hollow Lake was how quiet it was. No jet skis whining across the surface. No party music echoing through the trees. Just wind brushing across the water and the creak of old docks shifting with the current. That was exactly why I bought the cabin. After 32 years in the military, quiet wasn't just a preference, it was medicine. I arrived just after sunrise, the back of my pickup loaded with supplies. The gravel road curved between tall pines, the morning light breaking into thin gold ribbons across the windshield. My cabin sat at the far end of the private shoreline. Small, clean, no nonsense. A place where rank, orders, and noise didn't follow. Or so I thought. I had barely finished unloading when I heard the sharp slam of a car door. High heels on gravel, fast, aggressive, purposeful. I didn't even have to turn around. Every neighborhood has one. She marched up the slope wearing oversized sunglasses and the expression of someone permanently offended by oxygen. "Excuse me," she snapped. "Who are you?" I closed the tailgate slowly. "Owner." She blinked, clearly not expecting that answer. "I'm Linda Crawford, WA President," she announced, like she was presenting a royal title. "You can't just show up here unannounced." "I purchased the property last month," I said calmly. Paperwork cleared. Her lips tightened. She scanned me from boots to shoulders like she was searching for a violation she could charge interest on. "You weren't approved by the community board." I wasn't aware private property required public approval. That didn't go over well. Her teenage son stepped forward then, phone already out, filming. "Mom, that's him," the boy whispered loudly. "The guy Mr. Jenkins said looked suspicious." Suspicious. Interesting word choice. Linda's expression shifted from irritation to opportunity. "Sir," she said, voice louder now, projecting authority, "we've had reports of unauthorized individuals using the lake. If you don't leave immediately, I will call the police." I met her gaze. "Go ahead." She smiled the way people smile when they think they've already won. The call lasted less than a minute. "Yes, officer, there's a man trespassing at Pine Hollow Lake. He refuses to identify himself." She hung up and folded her arms. Her son kept filming. "You're in serious trouble," he said smugly. I didn't respond. I simply carried a crate toward the cabin porch and sat down. Years in command teach patience. 10 minutes later, a patrol car rolled into view. Dust curled behind it like smoke. The officer stepped out, adjusting his cap, scanning the property. Linda rushed forward before he could speak. "Officer, thank goodness you're here. This man refuses to cooperate. He claims he owns the cabin, but he won't provide documentation. He's been lurking around the lake." The officer nodded politely. Then he looked at me. His posture changed instantly. His back straightened. His expression sharpened. He walked forward with measured steps, stopped 3 feet away, and raised a crisp, formal salute. "Yes, Major General." Silence dropped over the clearing. Linda blinked. Her son lowered the phone. I returned the salute. "At ease, officer." The transformation in Linda's face would have been impressive if it weren't so predictable. Confusion. Disbelief. Then panic trying to disguise itself as authority. "Major." "What?" she asked. The officer turned slightly toward her. "Ma'am, you're speaking to Major General Armin Hale, retired United States Army." Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. "But, he's trespassing." The officer's voice remained calm. "He is the registered owner of this property and the adjacent shoreline." The word, adjacent, hung in the air like a dropped plate. Linda's composure began to fracture. "That's impossible. The lake belongs to the WA." I stood slowly. "No," I said evenly. "The WA leases access rights. The land itself belongs to the original deed holders." Her face drained of color. "That deed," I added, "was transferred to me with the cabin purchase." Her son stopped recording. The officer cleared his throat gently. "Ma'am, misuse of emergency services is a reportable offense. Is there anything further you'd like to add?" For a moment, she said nothing. Then the anger returned, desperate and loud. "He intimidated my son." I looked at the boy. "I unloaded groceries." The officer nodded once. "I'll note that." He turned back to me. "Is there anything you need, sir?" "Just peace and quiet." "Yes, sir." He saluted again before returning to his patrol car. Linda stood frozen, breathing hard, as the vehicle drove away. For a moment, I thought it was over. It wasn't. HOAs rarely surrender after a single defeat. 3 days later, a formal notice appeared on my door. Violation. Unauthorized military presence disturbing community harmony. I read it twice, then laughed for the first time in months. The letter demanded compliance with WA regulations within 72 hours or face fines of $500 per day. They had no authority over my property, but they did control road access. And access was leverage, so I attended the next WA meeting. The community hall buzzed with whispers when I walked in. Linda sat at the front table, posture rigid, smile brittle. "We're here to discuss ongoing disturbances," she began. I placed a folder on the table. Inside were copies of land surveys, water rights agreements, and historical deeds dating back 80 years. The room grew quiet as she flipped through the documents. "This can't be correct," she muttered. "It is," I replied calmly. "The shoreline, lakebed, and primary access road fall under my deed." Someone in the audience whispered, "The road too." "Yes," I said. Linda's hands trembled slightly. It means, I finished, that any enforcement action against me constitutes trespass." The silence that followed wasn't just quiet. It was realization. For weeks, they had treated me like an intruder. Now they understood the truth. I wasn't inside their community. They were inside my property boundary. Linda attempted one last stand. "You're disrupting our neighborhood culture." I considered that, then nodded. "I'm willing to cooperate." Relief flickered across several faces. "However," I continued, "future interactions must follow proper legal channels. And emergency services will not be used as intimidation." The vote to suspend enforcement against my property passed unanimously. Strange how quickly authority shifts when facts arrive. But the real change came later. One evening, I found a small envelope on my porch. Inside was a handwritten note. From the teenage boy, "I'm sorry for filming you. I didn't know. Mom says we should respect service. Thank you for protecting the country." No signature. Just a drawing of a small cabin by a lake. I kept it, not because of the apology. Because of the lesson. Power doesn't need to shout. It only needs to stand still long enough for truth to arrive. The lake returned to silence after that. No more accusations. No more emergency calls. Just wind across water. And for the first time since retirement, something close to peace.